Welcome to the Data Strategy Show. My name's Samir Sharma and I'll be your host for the next 60 minutes. My guest today is Ravit Jain. Ravit is a senior content marketing editor in the Expert Network team at Packt. He looks after content marketing materials produced by and for Expert Network authors and their titles. He is also responsible for a portfolio of content marketing assets for each title, liaising with producers, technical editors, and individual authors, as well as technical reviewers. He is the host of his own podcast, The Ravit Show, and the first committee member for the Story by Data company, working closely with Kate Strachnyi. I hope you enjoy this episode, and please do like, share, and leave your feedback. Thank you for listening. Ravit Jain, thank you very much for being on the Data Strategy Show. It's a real pleasure to have you, actually. You were referred to me by Kate Strachnyi.
Wow.
So it was very kind of her to tell me all about you. Well, not really, but, I had to find that out. But Ravit, you've become quite prominent on LinkedIn, in the last maybe 6 months. Of what I can remember. I'm sure you might have been very active before and previously. Just tell us a little bit about your background and where you are now and what you're up to.
Yes, such a pleasure being here, Samir, and thanks for calling me in the show because it's the Data Strategy Show is definitely something what I was looking forward to. And LinkedIn has been kind of my go-to place since last not only 6 months, but back then 2 years back when I started networking,
Right.
and I started getting into a field where marketing plays a very important role.
Yep.
I made sure that COVID has been kind of I know it's kind of sad for many, but it's also at the same time it has given a lot of learning to all of us, where we now know the power of getting together on maybe over the internet and sitting at home, how we can actually come together and create great opportunities for each other. Like we're just talking right now.
Yeah.
We're creating opportunity for each other and for the folks who would be viewing this to learn more about how things can run and how networking can make a difference in their own life. So talking about my background, Samir, I come from a publishing background. I work for PAC Publishing as a community manager now. And I closely work with tech authors in various fields, not only just in data science or AI, but also cybersecurity and programming.
Sure.
I make sure that their books are amplified at a global level and reaches the best communities possible, because there's always been that thing where the books do not get that amplification to that level and the authors do not get that much of recognition. So my thing is obviously to get the best learning to the community and making sure that the community gets the right book in their hands if they are looking out to upskill themselves in various tech areas. So Packt obviously creates tech books. So definitely. So that's one of the things that I do at Packt. The other thing, obviously, I host the Ravit Show.
Sure.
I do interview folks who are actually creating some great strides in the community and are actually making sure that the community is enjoying what they are doing and what just get them on board and interview. And it's my way of giving back to the community that okay, I'll interview the best folks for you, and it's a live session. You can ask as many questions as you want. Not only in data science, but also what I'm planning is to start with different topics like human resource as well, because we know in 2020 human resource has kind of actually been hit very hard.
Sure.
And having those experts in place and talking about what would be the future as well, that is another topic that I'll be touching on the Ravit Show. But those are the things that I've been doing in my day-to-day job. And other than that, so kind of a guy who's everywhere in terms of the marketing, books, or sharing insights about the tech world, or sharing free resources, everything is there to for the community. So
and I like that the approach, and I've only known you for probably in terms of on my radar for the last 6 months. And
Yeah.
yes, you've been doing it way before then. You talk about community. You talk
Yeah.
about the sense of, and to me, community is the sense of belonging and being a part of something.
Right.
We're all there are people on LinkedIn who don't necessarily um, uh, belong to a community
Right.
or are possibly looking for a place to fit. How do you build a community
Yeah.
that in this day and age of COVID, how are you doing that? And what are the steps that you've taken to actually broker those conversations and build that network?
So basically, when I talk about me sharing tech books in different areas and not just sticking back to only data science or only
Mm-hmm.
data, machine learning or deep learning, but also making sure that since I have that, or I have that portfolio in with me at PAC, that I can actually go out and market to different communities and
Yep.
market through my through the authors' books with whom I'm working. I would be actually going out and announcing, okay, whichever the books are coming out. So it kind of gets that curiosity for the folks who are from the community and
Mm-hmm.
not from the community. For people who are not from the community, they obviously, some people are hesitant to get to you and talk about topics, but some people are very upfront, and they would be like, okay, Ravit, we've seen this book from this author that you were actually referring to, and they might come up with maybe a technical question, but obviously that I can pull back and shoot at the author for the technical
Sure.
stuff. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'll make sure that I am holding a Slack channel where I can add them, and I have all the folks in there who would be interested to join the conversation around various things which are happening around. So they're up to date. And
Mm-hmm.
also I'll be sharing about the free resources that I'll be sharing, or also having that I'll be interviewing folks on the Ravit show as well, so they
Sure.
get that benefit as well. So I'm always there in terms of not just giving them that comfortability, but at the same time also helping them in terms of to fit in that, okay, you belong to a data science field. This is one place that you can be, and you can talk freely, because we are here and we welcome everyone to
Mm-hmm.
talk, share and
Mm-hmm.
learn here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the place. We do have Tom Ives, who's out there, and who's actually also taking up some mentoring sessions or every Saturday. So
Yeah.
people do attend that as well, and so we know the places where they can reach out to, and it's free education. It's nothing like
Yeah. 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 No,
any mentoring
absolutely.
has been
Mm.
there for paid or something. So people are finding it useful, and that's the reason community believes that, okay, Rawat will be sharing something which would help us
Mm-hmm.
upscale, or would help us in building a career in some way. So
Yep.
it's not like
Yep.
they are reliant on me for everything, but it kind of helps, and it kind of they're in a better place to actually make that move, that okay, fine, we are in touch with Ravit, it's good enough, because
Mm-hmm.
we are
Mm-hmm.
getting good insights. And the same is what I am getting from the people who I am in touch with, and the community I belong to. I feel very happy when people reach out and they have questions, because today I think the most important thing is to ask, and people
Yeah.
tend to shy away from asking things.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
if we if it's not considered as taboo, just go and ask. People are there to answer.
Yeah. No, no, I agree with that. The one thing that keeps going through my mind, and by the way, Tom's been on my show as well. So,
Wow.
yeah, we had a great chat. He's a wonderful man, wonderful
Yes.
man. Um, the idea that you've come from a very different background into this
Right.
new world of data. So you've come from finance,
True.
sort of migrated over into, well, I guess
Right.
finance research, and then
That's it.
and data plays a point in all of those
Oh yes.
areas. How have you had to adjust to terms and the new types of lexicons and different ways of thinking? Because I know the data community. I mean, I've been
Exactly.
in this world for the last 20 years.
Right.
And how did you, from a specific background, versed in finance, did an MBA, and then suddenly you find yourself as a community manager in
Right.
Packt,
Yeah.
and being the LinkedIn face, and brokering conversations.
Yeah.
How did you overcome those issues?
Oh yes, very interesting question, because I've been quite often asked about the same thing, where Ravit, you belong to a finance field, and then you've just jumped into obviously you've moved into research and then marketing. So
Hmm.
basically, what I when I started off my MBA, I remember it was I was always wanting to play around numbers, and in the end what I thought was, where I stand today, it is also about numbers, where data
Sure.
what
Yeah.
matters the most. But uh, when I started off, I knew that okay, finance is the field for me, but
Hmm.
at the same time finance is huge, and when you talk about finance, it doesn't let you just take over the computer and just do the accounts, or maybe just do play around with the finances, but you can actually go out there and make sure that how you can utilize finance in other fields which
Hmm.
are actually growing enough. And my first move was towards market research, because market research does have a component of marketing and
Yeah.
product reading.
Mm.
So if you know how to read a product, which you can actually find through numbers. So if I talk about a simple thing which is like a pen, and if
Hmm.
I if I need to actually go out there and create a report on pen, that what is the actual data of a pen which is sold across the world,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
what would be the data around those lines. And
Yeah.
that's I got into market research, where I used to actually create marketing the reports
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
various products, and not only playing around the data which used to be global, but at a national and at city level too, which is very difficult to actually get through without softwares. But we did have our primary research in place, we did
Hmm.
have our secondary research and the white
Sure.
papers which we used to refer.
Hmm.
So that's when it started. And that's when I got the thing that one thing I understood very well was, okay, I belong to numbers.
Hmm.
I can actually understand the revenues or maybe the sales of pen, but at the same time, what am I playing around with? So I'm playing around with data. How am I actually coming out to a revenue or a sale? Because I have the data which
Hmm.
is behind
Hmm.
the sales of a pen, or the
Sure.
revenue. So that was when it struck me that this is something more related to data, rather than, because I can't create a report without the data.
Hmm.
Those data pointers are the most important thing. Yeah.
I agree with that. So
Yeah.
here's the thought in my head. You know, um, you did that, but actually, what you were doing was telling a story,
Exactly.
right? So it seems extremely logical for you and your next step. But let me just talk about when you're writing a report like that, because I'm sure there are a lot of analysts out there,
Oh,
a lot
indeed.
of people who are providing insight back to others in the same way that you were doing, because that's essentially what you were doing, right? You were
Right.
looking at a market, you were looking at a product, you were looking at scalability, you're looking at
True.
profitability, and so on. So, what were the key things that you would have broken down in order for you to convey that message to not just one person, but there could be
Exactly.
hundreds of people reading those reports, and you have to
True.
be so wide and varied. So, how did you do that?
So, when I used to actually make those reports, I need to make sure that this has to have a sample size, because you can never go out
Mm-hmm.
without a sample size,
Mm-hmm.
or without the key metrics or a market engineering sheet, where you need to create, you need to actually calculate the CHER of every product in every state and every city as well. So you
Sure.
need to make sure that at least you are there. So
Mm-hmm.
even I used to actually literally make calls to US, Canada, UK, and make sure that I get the primary data in place. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about a product which is pen, I need to know from the person who's sitting at sales, that what is the level of the sales that you all are doing yearly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
definitely no company would be in a place to share their complete details.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, the public companies need to go out there and share their revenues, and with their revenues you can go into their product line. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously a report is huge. When I talk about
Yeah.
pens,
Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
it's not just about a pen which is a gel pen. There might be
It could be a wide
different
variety
variations.
of them. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where you start playing about in different products. Then you go into a product line, you look at a company. If I'm looking at top 10 companies making certain the pen companies, I'll go into their product line. I'll go into the product line in terms of segmenting those pens. And then looking at their revenues, I will actually start bifurcating it into the sales of their per monthly or
Mm-hmm.
yearly sales, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll be getting that in segments. And
Mm-hmm.
accordingly, I'll be doing it for maybe 10 companies, 15 companies,
Yeah.
50 companies.
Yeah.
So it's a huge. These reports used to actually take me around 4 months to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we still had a team of almost 8 people. So 8 people sitting at 3 or 4 months in just one report.
Sure.
But it needs a lot of research. And
Yes.
those facts needs to be actually put out very well. So if you it is about breaking down those lines of things. What is a pen made up of?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are many
Mm-hmm.
markets which are dependent on this. You need to know the external factors. If there's a pen refill, or if it's a plastic market, if it's a plastic pen, I need to know the market of plastic as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's when you start dealing and you start thinking that okay. And you'll it's a learning process. When you start into the report, I can maybe my top boss sitting there, who's the founder, he might also not know how this market works, because he once he starts getting into it, he'll have different thoughts and different
Mm-hmm.
areas that where
Mm-hmm.
he'll be jumping in. And that's when he'll be very confident that okay, this report is feasible, but not very feasible, because we need to now understand the plastic market, that what is the demand and supply, and how did that plastic market changed, and accordingly we'll need to actually tweak the report for the pen
Mm-hmm.
market as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's a huge market to understand.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what you've just done. You've just unpacked the way that analysts should think about their data.
Oh yes.
So
That's
you've
true.
given a narrative without even being a technical individual, which
Yeah.
is actually the way. I'm not a techie. I'm not a pro. I'm not the guy who rolls up the sleeves and
Yeah,
does the
true.
R programming or whatever, or builds
Same.
visualization. I mean, I can speak all of the language and get it, but I think
Right.
what that does is for me really break down the the fact that you said you need a sample size, which is great,
Right.
because
Yes.
many burgeoning data scientists or analysts are probably not thinking about that. Then
Oh
you're
yeah.
looking at the segmenting of different ways to
True.
portray the data and to communicate it. But
Exactly.
equally, you're being able to prove the insight with facts and evidence, and then
Right.
being able to give that evidence-based insight back to your CEO or whoever,
Right.
and then you're being able to take a tangential look at different kinds of impacts from an external perspective. So,
Exactly.
so all of that actually is a very, very interesting
Exactly.
modus operandi, because that is actually how analysts should be thinking about, not like this, but they should be casting the net
Yes.
wider and taking in the whole, rather than just saying, I'm just going to go with this bit of data because nothing else will happen. So actually it's the key to a lot of data uh, um, uh, jobs, really. When when
Yes.
when someone says, I remember I running a team of 50 people worldwide in a data and analytics team, and the CEO said to me, go find money in our data. you
Oh
know
my.
which is great. It was a wonderful problem to have.
Yeah.
And I really went at it with the task at hand. So the same way, in the way that you've described it, I
Yeah.
hope that other um, analysts or those who want to become data scientists take that approach and start to embed that in the principles of how they do things.
Right.
Um, so tell me a little bit about Packt. Tell me a little bit about how you arrived at Pact, and um, where you see, the interesting route for technical books, as
Right.
well as now post COVID. Not post COVID, I should say. We're still in. Some of us are still in it.
Yeah.
How do you see the market playing out, and where do you think that the idea of books will essentially go?
So, first thing is obviously my journey to Pact was from market research. Obviously, I got
Mm,
an opportunity in Pact, and this was more towards content because, and I was
right.
sure because I always wanted that to play around with content with finance. So
Mm-hmm.
and in the end, I know I'll be playing with numbers even if I am anywhere, because it's about it's not about a marketing job or a sales job or a
Sure.
finance job. In the end, you'll want to, you have that effect on sales, which is the revenue and which is the number. So you need to make
Absolutely.
sure. So all those things I was very clear about, and that's the reason I jumped in. And I always knew Pact was doing something which was amazing, creating books, and books is
Mm-hmm.
something which is
Mm-hmm.
worldwide accepted and will never go off. So talking of the market, in going ahead after COVID, or even when you talk about when we are in this stage in
Yeah.
the COVID scenario,
Mm-hmm.
people will never want to stop upskilling themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when a book comes out, I always say this, and I always say this to everyone, that a author is not a good or a bad author. It's or a book is a not good or a bad book.
Sure.
It's just about how you look at it and what you are gaining out of it. For me, all the books might be very much valuable out there.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
will actually find it insightful because I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
but
Of course.
but
Yeah.
people who know already, obviously, so that's just not for you. So you need to pick the right book which is according to your needs. And talking about the market, I have actually made a report on books as well, which is
Okay.
huge, huge,
Yeah. Yeah.
huge. And that's one of the reasons, I have always felt that being close to the publishing industry, like Pact is amazing. Even when you talk about the culture and all of those things, that is amazing. Obviously, it's based in Birmingham
Mm-hmm.
and Mumbai as well, but now we are global. We
Right.
have people all around the world. But yeah, talking about book, I think Practice creating some amazing books in terms of tech. The authors definitely, they I think there are so many ideas and there are so many things out there which are
Mm-hmm.
happening and which are trending and which are changing in
Mm.
tech world,
Mm.
that
Mm.
needs to be addressed. And not everyone, if you look at the courses out there, or there's so much to learn, right? But in the end, when a technical expert, when they have a book in hand, and when they can actually go in, program something with the help of a book, they will actually consider it as a bible, because that's helping them in their career.
Sure.
And also helping them upskill in their future, helping them learn, and also getting in future already with the help of the
Mm-hmm.
book.
Mm-hmm.
So the book market is never going off. It never dipped, even during COVID,
Wow.
because
Okay.
people would love to upskill themselves. If you look
Yeah.
at Udemy, or if you look at say Plural site, you might even find those going at a very high. They might see a good spike in the sales as well during
Mm-hmm.
the COVID, because
Mm-hmm.
everyone would want to upskill themselves. They get the right
Yes.
time sitting at home. And that's
Yes.
when, people, most of the programmers, data scientists, and all these people actually are do work from home, and they get that time for themselves, where they
Mm-hmm.
can upskill
Mm-hmm.
themselves, they can
Mm-hmm.
learn, and they have something to refer back to.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, also talking about the tech authors, these authors are obviously, they're brilliant because they are writing a book. They have their mind space, they know their game very well, they know
Yeah.
what is actually needed in the market. If you
Mm-hmm.
talk about data science, there's a very common question which is asked every time, even when I take interviews,
Mm-hmm.
that why is first thing, what is the best way to get into data science? And the second thing is, obviously, people are wanting to know about internships.
Mm-hmm.
So that gets
Mm-hmm.
us to an idea that people should be addressing, or maybe there should be a book around how to get into data science.
Yeah.
So these authors very well know the industry space. They know their work. Even if you talk about machine learning, what's happening in machine learning, what's changing, if there's a new version in TensorFlow, or if you talk about different frameworks altogether, even Microsoft products, Power BI,
Mm-hmm.
all these things, it's always evolving with tech. If the tech is evolving, like obviously if we go back to 90s, it was completely different. Today it's completely different, where we see quantum actually getting
Mm-hmm.
real.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
on those lines, if you think about tech getting real, so there's always something to write for an author, and there's
Sure.
always where people want to upskill themselves to the latest trends. And nothing like a book. A book is something which which kind of actually gets in you, and when you actually start reading, you are so intrigued to know more about it, and you actually feel that okay, you are on a journey, you are in a storytelling actually. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, book
Mm-hmm.
market is amazing, and it's never gonna go out. In tech books, definitely it's like bread and butter to any programmer, data
Mm-hmm.
scientist, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe even the cybersecurity folks. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a wide range of,
Yeah.
of things happening out there. And what would you say are at the moment um, the sort of top three trends that you see in the market, and they might not be data related, but within your sphere and within Packt, what are those currently?
Quantum computing is definitely one
Okay.
tech
Mm-hmm.
which will get real very soon. It's getting real. It's
Yeah.
getting there, but people are learning more. People are wanting to know more about it, because
Right.
now if you look at IBM,
Mm-hmm.
they're very close to it. We also had a book last year, I remember, with Robert Sotor, that was Dancing with Qubits. He's
Mm-hmm.
the VP at IBM,
Yeah.
and very experienced. And he actually, last year I spoke to him, and that's when he actually explained to me that what's getting real about quantum computing. So I was very intrigued to it. And yes, quantum computing is one space. The
Mm-hmm.
second, obviously, AI is, people are actually talking that it's kind of getting away, it's not getting real, and all of those things. But I would say I recently had a chat with Ben Taylor,
Oh
and
yes. Yeah.
he was explaining about AI and how it's gonna take, how there's more to AI which people don't know, obviously. So AI is definitely not going away
Mm-hmm.
so soon,
Mm-hmm.
and it has something more than what we can even think of, because that's what will be the turnaround for AI. And
Mm-hmm.
we'll just need to wait back to look at what AI can do actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not replacing humans by any way.
No, I don't think it will. Not
Yeah,
yet. I don't think we're as. I don't think they can
yeah,
be as advanced as that. But I understand the ideas around the natural language progression,
right,
the image recognition, and what we
right.
can do in terms of accelerating healthcare and those types of use cases. So I mean, I think it's very much either deep learning or machine learning backed, on obviously natural language as well.
Yeah,
But AI itself, that's the bit I think that people put on this. Oh, we're in this AI
yeah,
journey, and we're there.
yeah.
We're you know we're not there. There's a lot to go
Exactly,
yet.
exactly.
The robots aren't going to take over yet.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's the bit which is definitely not going to happen. So so being at Packt, being the community leader, what
yeah.
are the, sorry, you didn't tell me the last one. You didn't tell me the third and
Okay,
final
so
one.
yes, so
Yeah.
third one, I'll keep it to data, which is obviously data storytelling. I like data storytelling, and that is something
Uh-huh.
which is, I wouldn't say it's a tech, it's quality. If you have that quality, you can win all the techs. You just need to have that quality where you can speak data. Like
Yeah.
obviously I don't have that quality as of now. I just spoke to you about numbers, where I was talking about reports and pens. If I had that quality where I could actually start sharing the numbers at the same time, and keeping it also very much close to the data, then I have that quality. It is a quality which you need to imbibe. Maybe it will come over time. Yes, definitely. But
So
great way. Yeah.
yeah, and that's interesting because data storytelling is obviously something that's been very much on the lips. I mean, I had Brent Dykes on my show,
Wow.
who wrote data storytelling,
Yes.
quite an amazing book. But the interesting thing for me is, I think it's not about the data in the entirety. I think it's about more about the business, more about how you
Mhm.
convey that
Yes.
information in a way that is going to be consumed openly.
Right.
But the thing about it is, and I think it's the last mile of data storytelling, is what do we do with it?
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that's one of the
Exactly.
most important aspects
Yeah, completely
from that.
agree. Agree, because in the end, if you can talk business and
Yeah.
it's through a story, nothing like it, because you need to make sure that people sitting there in the room, they know how finances work, they know
Mm-hmm.
how marketing works, they
Mm-hmm.
know how
Mm-hmm.
the operations work. But at the same time, when you get all these things, three things together, and
Sure.
you convey it through storytelling, nothing like it. You have just understood the base, you know how the business is running, and you are conveying it very clearly that these are the factors which
Mm-hmm.
have taken and which will actually get us to that that peak what we are looking at. So those goals, and when you can convey things very easily through storytelling, and which will help the business in the end, and
Yes. Yeah,
it's talking the
absolutely.
business,
Yeah.
you won the race, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. And I think there's very few people who can probably do that,
No, no,
which is,
exactly.
so yes, now I realize how important it is when you put
Oh
it at
yes.
number 3. So a lot of
Yeah.
people will be very happy to hear that. Let's just switch the conversation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about content.
Yeah.
Let's talk, there's lots of people out there who are probably thinking, I don't want to expose myself on LinkedIn. I don't want to post stuff. I'm shy.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say. What would you say to those people? How would you get them to start? And what are the things that they could think about in
Ah.
order just to get over the sort of mental barriers of them getting onto LinkedIn and being real?
Oh yes, I have had so many folks
Hmm.
who used to be, the same that you're talking about. That they feel so self-conscious and they feel
Yeah.
that, oh no, I can't do it, or maybe what if some blooper happens or something like that.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about all those things. My
Mm.
point, when I started off, I never gave it a thought. Obviously, we all have that in back of our mind that okay, what if our content is not something that will be very much relatable to the audience? It doesn't matter. The first post which you're going out and you're posting, or which, if you're talking about something,
Mm-hmm.
that's where your journey starts. I
Yep.
think it's just about starting,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not about thinking that, okay, I should hit 100 likes, or I should hit maybe these many comments, or I don't have anyone connecting with my content that I've put in. You need to make sure whatever you're putting in is something which is related to you or
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
For starters, at least, I wouldn't say that you can't talk about the world affairs or what's happening in the world. Obviously you can, but if you want to start with a content which is personalized and which will give that post something which is say a personal touch, it would matter
Mm-hmm.
a lot to folks, and
Yeah.
people would be connected. Because
Mm-hmm.
today, if you look at on LinkedIn, if there's someone who started their own business, or who's getting just a promotion, or who's looking out for a job, they might
Mm-hmm.
get a better engagement because they're talking about themselves,
Sure.
and they're celebrating, or they are looking for something out, and they are seeking for some help. So people are out there to help you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you need to make sure that what is your purpose. You need to have a purpose when you're getting, and when you are starting to post about something. But later down the line, when you reach a level where obviously you have a certain folks around you, and you have your friends and your mates, and you are engaging with their content, and they are there for you as well, if you have something to share, that's the most important thing. But
Mm-hmm.
at the first instance, you need to make sure it's a little very much personalized, but at the same time, it should be something which should help the other folks as well.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're sharing something, if I start talking about COVID
Mm-hmm.
on internet, like if I would have done that 9 months back, it would have hit crazy likes. It would have, because I'm sharing information, I'm sharing
Yeah.
data and all of those things. But today if I share, it will just not be in place. They'll be like, okay, it's just another information which has come
Mm-hmm.
out
Mm-hmm.
about COVID, so it's all
Mm-hmm.
good. But making sure at the same time, you need to be very much trending with the topic. You need to have that information going. But it's okay even if it's a mistake, even if it's not something which is related to now. It is okay. It is okay, because
Yeah.
you have that learning experience. This is
Mm-hmm.
just for the starters, that
Mm-hmm.
just go out there, start talking, and you will reach a place where you will understand your audience well. Your audience will understand you well. That okay, if Ravit is out there talking about a book, that's because Ravit does recommend good books. So he's out there and he's recommending other book that has been released, and is he's working with the author to get into the best hands in the community.
Sure.
So they know the my actual what is my purpose of
Mm-hmm.
coming out with the
Mm-hmm.
book, posting about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not coming out randomly. And
Yeah.
it's not just that Ravit will be making book recommendations only for Packt, but he'll also be coming out with Gilbert's book if there's if it's about analytics, or he'll just come out with Martin's book and talk about data,
Mm-hmm.
or Michael Kanan's book if it's about AI.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it works that way. So people do trust me in terms of, obviously he'll be suggesting, he knows about books, so he'll
Sure.
be and giving us that direction. So
Yeah.
that is the later stage. But at, yes, like you mentioned, that don't be hesitant, don't worry about likes, comments or anything. Just
Mm-hmm.
go out there,
Mm-hmm.
start posting, and keep it very consistent, because people
Yeah.
like consistency. I'm going out there on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
I'm out there for 6 hours. If I see a post every day and if I start connecting, it's like a storytelling again, because your audience starts getting, but it's a long-term storytelling, which is obviously, which doesn't have an end.
Yeah.
So you'll need to keep that in mind, that you need to be consistent. You need to share a little personalized content, and at the same time which is beneficial for the opposite party too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think those are very good things. So if I play that back to you, it's
Yeah.
very much about just starting,
Yeah.
and putting pen to paper or making a video, or whatever that might be. Understand what your purpose is. Find a subject that obviously is current.
Right.
Provide value back to your network,
Yes.
and don't worry about it. Don't worry about metrics and things like that, because I think that's the one thing that people, oh, I had 20 views today. Wow, amazing. I had one comment. Oh, I think those will come.
Yeah.
And keep it consistent. And that consistency, I'm guessing, is something that plays into the way that you've built community,
Yeah.
and just spreading that news. So yes, that's the question I had in my mind. What is the best medium then? What's the best medium that works for you over others? A post, a video, just responding to somebody's comment. What would you say is the one thing that would benefit from people doing?
So since I've chosen LinkedIn, it's LinkedIn for me. But
I think the
definitely,
medium itself, though, is it? Would you post video
yeah.
over text, or that kind of?
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
talking about the content. I feel photos do well.
Mm-hmm.
Content with photos, because those speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Videos, definitely, if you're going with a personalized video, if I'm going out there and introducing myself on LinkedIn, that okay, hello, I'm Ravit and I'm just here to interact and build my network, and
Mm-hmm.
also happy to interact with your content and see what's going on. So if I go out with a video like that, people will want to see, okay, this guy's just come up, he's just come in, and he's that confident that he started talking on LinkedIn, and he's making it very personal,
Yeah.
and taking those efforts for us, that he's coming out and he's talking what is his purpose. So yes, we'll be looking forward to what Ravit also does,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, accordingly, go ask. And it's not about just posting and staying there. You need to make sure that you are out there, also networking, engaging with other folks, talking to them, what's their purpose and what are they there for. So you start creating a family sort of for yourself.
Sure.
It's more
Sure.
like a family relationship when you
Yeah.
are sitting and giving 6 hours of yours on a platform of your life, of your
Mm.
day. It is
Mm.
very important to make sure that that matters, and that
Yes.
matters, and you are giving the best to them and you're getting the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the
Mm-hmm.
most important thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's so, yeah, I like that, because I think it's a very harsh reality of somebody trying to start out and then them not succeeding and thinking, I'm not going to do it again. So actually it takes time, build those connections. And I think that's the other factor here. People, you know, be more personable even when you're doing connection requests.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Well,
Yeah.
talking about that, Samir, if
Mm.
if I would have just come out and sent out a request to say one of my authors is Sebastian Rashka. If I would have just gone and pinged him and without a personalized message, he would be thinking that, okay, why is Ravit added me? Or maybe, if I would have added that, oh, hey, Sebastian, I'll be working with you on your book, Python Machine Learning. And it would be great to connect with you and have a chat just before we publish your book to the
Mm-hmm.
market.
Mm-hmm.
That would play a different role, and that would give
Yes.
the
Yeah.
clarity that what has Ravit and what's his purpose to get to me. And
Sure.
that doesn't just stick to publishing a book with him or marketing his book or going out there and talking in the community about him, but that creates a relationship which is endless, because you'll start learning, you'll start talking, you'll
Mm-hmm.
ask, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously he's the expert, he's the mastermind. So you have that learning curve, you can ask him things. It's not, no one's out there on LinkedIn just to blabber about themselves or flaunt about themselves.
Sure.
We are
Yeah.
here to network, we are here to talk. We get messages a whole day, we do reply. Sometimes obviously some people, it kind of gets buried away in the messages and you forget to reply or something. But it's not like we don't have the intent to talk to people around. Obviously we are
Mm-hmm.
looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you
Mm-hmm.
start talking, you start building, and when you start
Yeah.
building, you have things which will be running in your favor. And also you just touched the topic where people actually stop sharing content just after having felt that they failed because
Mm-hmm.
no one liked, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe they just got 10 likes or something like that. But my purpose was always, not like we haven't failed, I've failed,
Oh,
everyone
of
I'm sure
course. Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
have failed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they should understand one thing: what was the first thing and the first motive when they came and they actually went out with the post and the content out there?
Mm-hmm.
What was the
Mm-hmm.
purpose? Was it to just get likes or comments? Then I would say they might not be succeeding at the first time anywhere, because they will need to have that patience.
Yeah.
Rome was not built in a day, it's just the
Mm-hmm.
same. So it
Mm-hmm.
takes time. It's not something which will be overnight. It takes
Yes.
time. You need to have that much commitment and that much faith in yourself to get
Sure.
through. And content definitely is not the king, but it is the kingdom. I heard this and I always follow that,
Mm-hmm.
that if you share content, people love it. Keep doing it. May it be personalized, may it be something regarding your career, or maybe it may be something regarding what you're working on. Sometimes do share personal things as well. It's not like it's talking about LinkedIn, if it's a personal platform, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, when I say it's like a family to me, I don't mind sharing my happiness or celebrating what I've
Mm-hmm.
earned back in
Mm-hmm.
with my family. We do
Yeah.
put
Sure.
about the promotions. We do put about say maybe if we have passed in external exam or something. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the same way. Do all those things, treat it as a family. You don't need to get a thumbs up from a family. They already know you're doing well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Exactly.
tell me, here's a hypothetical
Yeah.
question. Um, I want to write a book, right?
Wow.
Um, and what advice would you give me to start? And what process, maybe not process I should follow, but what should I be thinking about?
So the first thing, obviously, you need to have your topic, you need to make sure that your topic is well defined. You need to know your target audience very well. If you are coming, if say, Samir, you want to write a book on data is huge. Okay. But obviously, if you work, say, in data governance, so if you want to write a book on data governance, you need to make sure that which are the books in the market, what are you fighting against, and how will you modernize yourself, what data governance, that these are the pain points in data governance, and these needs to be addressed. And there are folks, you can easily, if you are into data governance, you can easily run a research between folks, your colleagues, and you can see that okay, what are their pain points. I'm sure there will be around 5 pain points which would be common for everyone, or there may be more which would be common for everyone. And those pain points would, if you take a sample size of 100 or 200, or maybe just go out and put a poll, and you might see people voting for what pain points they have. And those pain points, if you start addressing in your book, that's where you get your USP. And if it's not shared in any other books, you've just earned idea for your book, just by having that community intelligence for yourself in that field. So understanding your topic area first, obviously, most of the times it's when for an author, they are working in that field, and that's their idea, obviously, because they know it very well. They already have the community intelligence, and then that's when they think, okay, this needs to be addressed because it is taking some time for everyone to get there.
Sure.
So that is the main pain point. Obviously, the target audience there, it depends. If you want to write a book, something which is just a basic book, that's for learning, then it's an intermediate level, and that's and again for the advanced level too. So there are segments in the audience too,
right?
That you make sure you can't have a book which is for everyone.
No, of course
it doesn't work that way. It's those books are like dummies, which would be for everyone, or which won't actually cater to one specific target audience. But so there are different types of levels of audience as well, which you would want to target. And your USP is the most important thing. That why do you think this book will sell? And you have that in place. If you know that, okay, these are the things which I will make sure that is different and which is unique, and which today the world wants. No one can stop that book to succeed in any way. And definitely those are a few things that you'll need to make sure if you want to write a book. But it's not a very complex process. But at the same time, obviously, being an author, you need to have that clear headspace in your mind when you start to decide that you want to give 8 months or 6 months or even 3 months. Talking about one of my author, John Thompson, the author of Building Analytics Teams, he wrote a book in just last 3 months. He started back in April, I guess, 2020, and completed somewhere in June or July, and somewhere.
There's great points. I had a chat with John last week. He's coming on my show next week.
Amazing.
So he's also a fun guy. Now those were great points. So the idea that understand your topic, understand and define it well. Narrow it down, be specific.
True.
And know your audience, what they want, but the different levels. So is it an executive book? Is it sort of a mid-level manager, or is it a starter book?
Very important.
Got different ways of thinking about it. And then drive the insights from your community, understand exactly what you want, what they want, and what their pain points are. So those are really great. I love those points. Ravit, it's been a pleasure to have you on the Data Strategy Show.
Honor is mine.
Brilliant. It's great.
Great insights, and I hope I was actually able to provide some great insights. And
yes.
You're a lovely host, Samir. I must say that.
No, it's a pleasure.
You know your stuff so well, and it's such a pleasure talking to you.
No, today. Likewise. Thank you. And you know what? For those people who may not know you, which can't be that many, where can they find you?
So LinkedIn is the best place to reach out to me. I have a YouTube channel which says The Ravit Show. You just need to go and search in there. I have a Slack channel. If you wish to actually join the Slack channel,
Yep.
I might share it with you, Samir. You can put it
Sure.
somewhere in YouTube.
Yep.
So folks can actually have a look and they can join the Slack channel. I openly invite everyone. It's not limited to experts or beginners or anyone, because it is a platform where I make sure that everyone's learning. I
Yeah.
do share some resources. I do share the interviews that will be conducted and all of those things. So making that community, feel that comfortable. If anyone out there feels, this is actually, I feel a little hesitant to start that, okay, what I need to post, you can just ping me. I'm a message away. I'm ready to guide and all of those things. So no
Good.
need to worry. But yeah, these are the places.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Ravit,
Thanks, Amir.
and enjoy the rest of your evening. And I am sure we will catch up very soon.
Definitely. Thank you very much,
Take
Samir.
care.
Yes, take
Thanks.
care. Bye.
Thanks.